After some work, got the hood stripped. Few surprises, nothing too bad. The area where there was body filler, there had been some moisture that got down underneath. Caused a little bit of pitting, but not real bad. It had some discoloration in the metal, but I used some phosphoric acid on it, brought that out. It was fine. The one thing I didn't realize is I got a great big hump here. You can see even right here is bent out right there, and then there's a big crease right here, and we got some oil canning going on, quite a bit of it right in this area. So minor denting here. It's got a pretty good concave right here. Comes down, minor denting here. Got some dents on both sides of the ridge here. And then by the time I get out to here, the rest of it is perfectly straight going out. So we got this dipped down. I'm saying about a 3/8 of an inch is just pushed downward, the front lip of this where something hit it. Had no clue what would have caused all this damage. The underside of the hood is absolutely perfect, so it didn't crumple up. Evidently something just landed on it and smashed it. So only I could see. Rest of the hood, I had one surprise back here, but the rest of the hood is in extremely good shape. There's just a few real minor like hail dents in it. I think maybe, I'm looking at this right now, counting them, 4 or 5, maybe 5 of them total. And all of them are kind of, pea-sized kind of thing, so it's nothing huge. Did have a hood fire at one point, and it turned because this was green, this color here, and it turned it into really actually a burnt orange, like the AMXs and Javelins had during these years of an orange paint. It was just that color, clear out, kind of like around here. So evidently, the paint was still on it, but it must have made it porous enough for moisture to get underneath. But it's not. It's far from bad, and it doesn't have any oil canning to it, so it didn't hurt the metal at all. So it must have just barely got hot. The paint was actually still on it. Like I say, it was just a different color. So I'm thinking that the black that was on this, that was covering the green, must have just been primer, because it absorbed moisture, and that's what caused all this to go to heck up here and crack, and then get moisture. And you can see just in these little lines here that it had little, where the cracks of the filler was, that it had rusted in those. But like I say, it wasn't anything, I mean, you can't even catch your fingers in that stuff. It wasn't anything major, thankfully. Didn't get in there and do anything major. So going in with some phosphoric acid, clean out all that rust so it doesn't progress anymore in its life. And now I can go in and we can start straightening this. I will probably do it so I won't have too stretched out of a video of this. Come back and do this in a separate video of using the acid on there and how to clean that up so that it'll be all ready for primer. So with that, I'm going to get everything set up here, put the camera and something to hold it, and we will start shrinking this. Might as well show now. I think I want to start out here and shrinking it, and then with that I'll kind of push everything up into here, and then we'll slowly work our way around here, and then we'll a little at a time on both sides of the ridge here start pushing this in and getting it all straight, and that will bring this lip back up to where it belongs. So with that, I'll get this thing. So here we are. This camera scan across this a little bit. See where my low areas are, right through here. And just Just gonna leave this zoomed in on area we're gonna work on, which is really the only real problem area is around that opening around the hood scoop there. So you can see, and here we got a low area here, it's low back in here, definitely. I mean, it's pushed in here. But we've got a high area going across here, and then this is raised up right here. Now, as I go with this, I'll start hammering this down until this lip here is the same as the other side there, where it's nice and even. The other thing I got to do when done here is this. This is glued to the inner structure is glued to the sheet metal here on the outside. So I do that because it's broken loose. But other than that, I think we're about ready to do this. Now, I'll tell you, whoever, I'm gonna look at my camera so you can see that or not. Here, let me zoom in on this a little bit. Come on, there we go. So yeah, we can see it right there, especially, we'll just stay in focus, that you can see all the really bad sanding scratches. Somebody probably went after this with a huge grinder with 36 grit on it at one time, and the whole hood's where the damage is like that. So probably a lot of this damage came from it getting hot. Let me zoom. Doesn't seem to like that. So okay, there we go. So this, I'm going to just leave it right here, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my disc and we're going to warm it up. I'm going to start right here. I'll warm this up. We'll let it. When I quit, I'll let it sit for 15 or 20 seconds. And we'll come in with a rag with cool water, not cold, but just cool, and cool this. And gradually, that'll bring this out here, and we can start working this way, and it'll bring this up. You know, pull this up here and same here, and it'll all start coming into shape. So with that, I'm gonna start right now. Find my gloves, and kind of we can get this thing pretty close just with doing this. I'm hoping that I don't have to figure out how to get something behind there to hammer this thing. I may, depends on when we just get this thing to quit oil canning or not, just with heating it up. So here we go. So we don't want to overheat that by any means. And then we just want to come in. Actually, I should have waited a little bit. I will the next time. We'll come in, cool that down. By waiting for 15-20 seconds, lets that heat dissipate a little bit more out into the metal. But yeah, that's exactly where we want to do. It'll slowly pull it back into shape. This time, we'll wait for a few seconds and let that thing cool and dissipate. See, some good heat on there. Now we just come in, cool that down. All right, now I'm going to come and do this probably 5 or 6 times right in here, and I'm coming to tap this down. So I'll come back when it's time to tap this into place, and we'll see how we're doing. All right, did the shrinking disc 7 times, and I thought every time I use shrinking disc, it just amazes me more and more every time. So I heated it up. I started going clear back into here, but heating it up, and I've still got a ways to go. It took this lip here that was bent up pretty bad and just about brought it back straight. So I'm going to go in and straighten that out the rest of the way, but it needs very little. This side. That appears to be nearly perfect. I'm still bent upward right here, and I need to get that down. I may have to see thing. Can't really go on hammer on dolly kind of thing, but I can do pretty well. Yeah, that looks really good right there. So I got rid of probably 95% of it anyway. I think I'll come back in with the shrinking disc and shrink this some more, and then I'm going to start heading down in this direction. See if we can work this out. That's right here. And then I can come around here, but my oil canning is still bad, but it's starting to come around. So it's getting a little better, and I haven't started over here, and that's really where my oil canning's at. So, all right, I've come a long ways in a short amount of time. This, you can see this here is completely straight, pulled down against the inner structure here now, and our dent, actually it wasn't a dent, it was a raised area right here. It's completely gone, and this had a dent here, and that's completely gone, and our oil canning has gone completely away, 100%. So now what I've got is to look at is that we got a low spot here and a few spots in here. I got one right here that there's no way I can get into it from behind. I don't think it's going to come out completely. We'll find out. So I come down, and I've got a dent here, and then a couple here, and then over here. So now the plan is to start working this outer area here and get all this to come back up the best that I can without changing anything back in here, because all of this now is 100% perfect. I can take my cheap little tool here, and yeah, I should be able to show you. It's kind of dark down in there. Let me do this. There we go. Now we got some light. So let's see where that dent was right there, and so I come over to the other side of this factory, and It's exactly the same all the way through. So I don't want to mess with any of this now. It's all done. Got a little low spot right here, pretty good low spot right here. But plan, work this out, and then I'll start working around this way until I get about 6 inches from my center line here, and then I'll come over here. I'll work in to about where there's 4 inches left, and work 2 inches at a time on each side till I come up and we pull this here back up where it belongs. So that's the plan. I'm just going to go to work on it. You saw, running the disc over our high areas. I mean, I'm going to come back in here right now with my magic marker and mark all this, sand it out so I know exactly where my high spots are. And then I'll come in here, get my high spots heated up, let it sit for 15-20 seconds, cool it down with a rag, come back, keep working that, and then I'll sand it as I'm going so I can see where I'm at until the point that all of this is level. And then, like I say, then I'll just work around here and do the same thing on my way over to the center. So when I come back, I don't think I'll come back to this until I'm done with the shrinking, and we'll see if for sure that it pulls up the center of this hood once I'm all done. I've done some of these in the past. I'm quite confident that it will, but I'll show you where we're at when I get there. All right, I got her done. This spot here was down about a half an inch, had about half an inch of mud in it when I ground it out. And it was pretty difficult to get it. I had to keep coming in with a thin bar through in between the inner structure and the outer structure, and pushing up the low spots so that they would become a high spot and then come in with the shrinking disc. And I just kept doing that until everything came into perfection there. The oil canning that I had is now gone, and it is all back to where it should be. I've got 2 spots. I've got one here I knew I would have. That's about the size of a pea. That's a low spot. And then I've got another one about identical to it over here. I'm going to go down to my storage locker and get my paintless dent repair rods and get in there and push these up. I'll push them up higher than the sheet metal and then come back in with my shrinking disc and just shrink them back into. Other than that, the rest of all the dents, I mean, there was a ton of dents in here, and they're all gone. I do have a lot of these little spots from somebody coming in with 36 grit, probably with a 9-inch high-speed grinder, and just grinding the crap out of it. And I'll tell you, don't be that guy, It may be quick, but it sure does a lot of damage, and it does a lot of distortion. And probably a lot of this distortion that was in the hood came from that and not the whatever happened to it. Something had to have fallen on it because the inner structure was fine. It didn't get squished in. Yeah, so anyway, that's where I'm at. So I'm going to come in. These things, you can just feel them with a fingernail. So I'll come in, skim coat this, and sand it completely down. So basically the only skim coat will be left in these. Yeah, I could use filler primer and do that, but I prefer to keep my paint thickness to a minimum. And if I keep adding filler primer and sanding, it's just adding to that thickness. So I'm not going to do that. I'd a lot rather come in, skim coat this thing, sand it all down, and that will take care of any little imperfections that are still in the hood, which is very, very minimal. I do filler primer and start to block sand it out and paint it. That's the plan. So, like I say, with that, I'll come back, I'll do this, and then she'll be ready to go into primer. Okay, we're going to get rid of this rusty spot here. This is what I use. It's just phosphoric acid, and you can buy this at, I get it at Lowe's, and I think any of the big box lumberyard stuff have it. Can't remember. It's under 20 bucks with this, and I cut it 50-50. I think is a little stronger than what the instructions say, but I found that it works the best. So I simply just take it, cut it 50-50, and then I just simply brush it on like this, and then I am going to let that sit for about 20 minutes. I'm not going to let it dry, and I've got my AC on, but I think that the air is humid enough that it won't even begin to dry in 20 minutes. So with that, we're going to let it sit. Then I'll come back with a gray Scotch-Brite pad and add a little bit more moisture to it and start scrubbing on it. Okay, it's been about 20 minutes for the sitting here. Still plenty of moisture left in it. So using a gray Scotch-Brite pad and just start after it like this. All right, so there's my first coat, and you can see just by the color of what's coming up there that it's taken all the rust out. So I'm gonna go back, put another coat on, and repeat the process until that rust spot is gone. Once I get it to where the rust is pretty much finished and just completely gone, I will come back with a wire brush on a 4.5-inch grinder and just go over and get anything I can off of out of the little pores and everything, and then I may have to add more of the phosphoric acid to it as I go until all the pores, there's no sign of rust in any of the pores of it at all. At that point, I will sand it with use my 4.5-inch grinder with a flapper disc and 120 grit and go over it and just get it all nice and smooth, and it'll be ready for primer. All right, so here I've got it, and I've got it as far as it's going to get, I guess. This is a first for me, and it must be because of the heat. Maybe somebody can make a comment on that and tell me what I'm looking at, because I haven't seen this before. These are not pits at all. In fact, I sprayed this with gray primer, resanded it, and all the black, what would be pits just showed right back up. So I know they're not pits. You can't feel them. It's perfectly smooth, and it's not rust because my phosphoric acid is no longer turning rusty brown with my Scotch-Brite. So it must be something to do with with where it got hot, and the metal is good. There's no oil canning or anything to it, like it overheated and stretched that metal or anything. So I guess that's what it's going to be. I'm going to live with it. I'm going to go in from the back side and do the same thing. But I don't want to get too carried away because I want to keep the integrity of the metal there. So Like I say, if you know what's causing that, please make a comment and let me know. But it worked out great. You know, you can see 100% of the rust is gone, and we're ready to clean this up and go into primer. All right, I got the hood done. Just going to show the underside here real quick. See that it turned out really nice. And our nose here is absolutely perfect. It just pulled it right into where it's supposed to be. I don't know why I'm having a, there we go, in focus. You can see it turned out perfect. Lay a straight edge across there, and there's no gap anywhere. It's nice, and all I did was to get that was with the shrinking disc. Is all I used, and well, shrinking disc and a little bit of heat from a heat gun and cooling it got me there. Say the total on this hood, I guess to get it to where it is right now, I've got about 12 hours in it. Is where I'm at. So turned out nice. Really good. I'm gonna flip it over here. Come back. All right. She's all in primer. Here on the passenger side of the hood, where most of the work was done, it came out really well. Very little filler in that at all. I could have gotten away, I think, with just doing about 4 or 5 coats of primer and block sanding it. But as I said earlier, I feel more comfortable with using a skim coat. So that's what's on here. As you can see, it came out really well, and I'm very happy with it. So now I should be just to the point of doing a block sand on it and it'd be ready to paint. I'm going to wrap this thing up in some plastic and put a little protection on all the corners of it so I can set it up right. And I'm going to put it away over in the next building I got here where the AMX is currently sitting, and let it sit. And when I'm ready to do my paint, we'll dig her out and do it. I'm going to finish up my my fenders and get them in primer, and I'll just do a quick video of that when it's done and ready to go in storage as well. Thanks very much for watching this. I hope that I at least I could kind of show you how to use the shrinking disc. Thanks very much and have a blessed day.